What's going on, guys? Rock the AC here, bringing you guys first ever deck profile of Set 4 Evolution, brought to you by the Panini CCG. I'm very excited to bring this deck profile because it's one of my favorite new masteries from the new set, and Turles is one of my favorite personalities, considering all of the personalities in the game so far. I've been pretty impressed with what Set 4 has to offer. A lot of cool effects, given that the masteries are all new. It just increases the card pool and deck building variations, and that's very exciting for somebody like me who likes to build decks and likes to test them and figure out, you know, little things here and there, little combos, or just some goofy stuff here and there. So I'm really excited to do that. I'm playtesting a lot. Haven't really looked at too much of the androids, but there are a lot of good solid choices, and I'm excited to see what the new meta will look like, if there is going to be a new meta. It's kind of like, I guess I would say, 2 weeks in since the release, and there's not too many decks that really stand out that I want to play, but as soon as I saw the Red Ruthless Mastery, being a physical player that I am, I kind of jumped on it. So bring you guys Red Turles, and reason I ran this is because, again, physical beatdown is a thing for me. I ran Blue Frieza for the past 3 sets, and I just like physical beatdown decks in general. Also, Turles being able to have your opponent not use endurance is critical in mid to late game situations where you're just doing damage. All it takes is just one big comment from Red, and then you could just, you know, destroy your opponent. You could kill like a third of their deck. Also, Red has a lot of combos that even I haven't really experienced with. I'm kind of I was more on the passive version of Red. In the past, I built Red Ginyu and then also Red Frieza recently. But this is a little bit more aggro version. Red Ruthless Mastery really aims for that +2 stages. Of every single combat that you want to enter. So it's more geared towards a physical based build, but also with Turles you could run a lot of energy attacks and have them not do endurance, which is great. The whole premise of this deck is to kind of camp at level 1. If you're bumped up to level 2, there are several ways. Obviously, you still gain anger with many of your effects in here, so you can just naturally level yourself up to 3, which is ideal. But I didn't want to waste so many resources getting up to level 3. I kind of just wanted to, just relax, play it cool with Turles level 1, and if I get bumped up, my opponent's, using the blue net beams or whatever have you to kind of bump me up, dig your graves, that's totally fine with me. It just helps me level up quicker. But I didn't want to waste all my resources, using digs or, ultra super anger cards to kind of level me up. I want to chill at level 1, play my drills, and kind of just beat down from there. So I guess let's take a look at the mastery. For those who are not familiar, Red Ruthless Mastery, just released, has a power. When entering combat, you banish the top card of your discard pile, and if you banish a styled card, your styled physical attacks as combat deal +2 stages of damage. And then they also gain hit, lower your opponent's anger 1 level. So this does multiple things. It's an optional effect, so use when entering combat is just like visiting the past. It's not a mandatory effect. You get to choose, because otherwise that'd be stupid. You banish the top card of your discard pile, and if it's styled, which majority of my cards are, you're going to be doing +2 stages of damage. So on top of Turles, you're going to be doing +4 stages of damage every single time you decide to enter, because you usually don't want to use this when you're entering combat, so you can get the maximum value out of this. What's also an amazing effect for this is that it gains a hit ability to lower your opponent's anger level 1. Red doesn't have a lot of ways to kind of lower your opponent's anger, so I like that they incorporated this little hit effect, which helps it, especially being able to use cards like Red Double Strike, so you could hit maybe twice. Really good against anger decks. They want to just anger out on you, so it's great for that. It also has a power, so reveal a styled card from your hand, place it at the bottom of your life deck, and if you do, and the top card of your discard pile is an attack, you may play it. This power alone sets up combos in your deck. And again, I haven't explored every single combo, but there's so many ways to kind of like set up your discard pile. There's some new cards that you can set up your discard pile, which I didn't really test out yet. And just being able to throw a dead card like a styled setup, when your opponent's entering on you and turning into an attack is just such a good plus. So it does have some variety to it, and again, it's more for a physical beatdown build, but I think it's perfect with Turles because the no endurance, you could still do a lot of damage to that. If you get bumped up to level 2, that's fine. You could do 5 stages of damage, and then his hit effect also as well could potentially level you up. Level 3, if you're up there, stay there. Banish the top 3 cards of your opponent's. Banish the top 3 cards of your opponent's discard pile, and then your attacks do +3 stages of damage. Cannot have their damage prevented. That's great because these could be attacks. They don't have to be styled. And level 4, don't really go there, so who cares? Yeah, sorry about all that quick, long introduction. Quick, long, doesn't make sense, sure. But let me go with the deck. This is pretty much a very basic skeleton, or kind of like a theme for my deck is running the drill package a little bit and being able to physically beat your opponent down. So that's the main concept, just like any other Turles build, but I do utilize some drills. I ran one Dragon Ball, which is Dragon Ball 2. Again, like I said, red doesn't have too many ways to kind of prevent a lot of anger decks out there. So Ball 2 makes it so that, Namekian decks, if you get it out first, you're able to drop them down quickly so that they don't level up so fast. You could also play this to drop yourself a level if you want to camp at level 1, if you're just not having luck with anger and whatnot. Don't forget Wall Breaker. Setups. I ran 3 Red Relaxation. This card has so many uses. It's outside of combat. We'll use when entering combat, use a critical damage effect, steal Dragon Balls, kill allies before they can even do their effects. Again, lower your opponent's anger. And then you could gain 2 stages, good against physical beatdown decks, and you get to draw that bottom card of your discard pile. So it has many uses, pluses you, and I think it's a staple. 2 Visiting the Past, obviously, so you get back whatever you need. And 1 Visage, because being able to hit your opponent for 6, 7, 8 life cards in a deck that beats your opponent down and no endurance, it's just another powerful, beefy card, and makes your opponent think twice about entering. Let's talk about the drill package. First drill, Red Embarrassing Drill. 2 endurance is great. Power. When one of your effects requires you to lower your anger, you may reduce that amount to 0. So this is amazing. So you have a lot of cards that tell you to lower your anger. You can pretty much negate that and just play it as is. You get to keep your anger. One of them being Red Forward Stance Drill. You may lower your anger 1 level to stop a physical or energy attack. This makes it so that you pretty much keep your anger, so you could use your anger for other effects. Very solid card. There's other cards that interact with it in the deck. I ran Red Forward Stance Drill because it's just such a good card. I mean, you're going to gain anger anyways through a lot of your cards, and why not have an Omni Block on the field? It forces your opponent to use, Withering Fire, all those destroying effects, because you're going to be able to always enter with a hand full of attacks and have at least an Omni Block, which is amazing. So being able to put this out is extremely powerful. And if you get banished, you have cards that could bring it back from the banish zone. I also ran 1 Red Despair Drill. This card is amazing because your attacks deal +X life cards of damage. X is your current anger when you perform that attack. So that's incredibly strong. You could be sitting on even 2 or 3 anger. 2 or 3 extra life cards is huge, especially if you're going to be stage locking your opponent. And you're doing a physical attack, that just adds on to the damage. It just adds on so much. And then, these are my attacks, so it doesn't have to be styled again. Doesn't have to be physical. It doesn't have to be life card or energy. It could just be anything. Very cool card, and it really helps with Turles. And then one of the new drills, probably one of my favorite drills from Red. They needed something like this, a removal. Parentheses, when this drill enters play, you may lower your anger 2 levels to destroy a setup or drill. This is incredible because you could answer to Black Power-Up, Visiting the Past, Villainous Visage, so many cards that could destroy drills. And then also use when you also it has power when after you use a critical damage effect, destroy a drill. extremely powerful, very useful. This is such a good utility card because you could just beat down your opponent, use a critical damage effect, destroy a drill, destroy smoothest drill. Black has a lot of good drills, radiating drill. Blue, positioning drills, or if you're going against, HPD. It has a lot of uses, and it's fairly easy to crit in this kind of deck. And then last drill is Lookout Drill, Namekian, Ball Bounce, Blue Slash, Orange, all that stuff. You're going to need to have answers to those mill decks. Events, 3 Stare Down, yeah, to get rid of their best card, their best attack, or their best defense. 3 Red Stop, it's an Omni block, so it's great for that. Stops the physical energy tag, and then I could also lower my anger 1 level. If I do, search your discard pile, or banish zone for a style drill and place it in play. Super amazing effect. Your opponent's gonna be destroying cards. They're gonna be ending up in the discard pile. And you could just get it back with things like Red Stop. It's a good card to have. I don't rely on it too much, but it's good to have it just in case. I ran 2 red restrictions. This card is just so good to pass up. Use when entering combat, players can only attack or pass in their actions this combat. It does shut off, pretty much your mastery, but against black decks with black power up, Namekian with all their setups and everything, there's a lot of decks out there that rely, pretty much on like non-combat stuff. So this makes it so that you kind of beat down your opponent. You're already going to do large physical attacks with Turles, so you're already going to be doing like +2. So if you have a feeling that you're going to be able to beat your opponent down with it, there's no question about this. You also get to draw a card also, so it's a great card. I run 2 of because I want to also interact with my mastery, but you usually pop this at obviously the right time. Speaking of time, there, bam. Physical attacks. Let's go with the obvious 3 red shoulder grab, raise your anger. Remainder of the combat, all your attacks are considered to deal critical damage. This combined with that drill, you're going to be destroying drills left and right. So it's such a good card to have. Again, crit allies. It's super powerful. Another obvious one, 3 red double strike, raise your anger 1. Stays in play to be used a second time in combat. Very powerful. Next, one of my favorite attacks, probably one of the most MVP cards I would say in red, is Red Shattering Leap. Physical attack costing 1 stages, AT plus 4 stages, and then if you hit it, it stays in play to be used a second time this combat. If your opponent has nothing, you lead with maybe a physical, 2 physicals, and then you have this with the last one. And if that hits, your opponent's in a world of trouble, because you're going to be able to hit this twice, potentially, and then you could possibly even trigger your mastery for power. So you'd reveal a style card from your hand, place it at the bottom of your life deck. If you do, top card of your discard pile is in deck, you may play it. You could just use this 3 up to 4 times in one single combat, or at least the effect, the damage. It's just insane. I've Shattering Leaped somebody 3 times before, just by playing this, letting it go again, and then go in discard pile and being able to use a power. It's such a good combo. It's not even a combo, it's just common sense, really. Just utilizing that, it's such a good card. If anybody has the new foiling Red Shattering Leap, I think it looks pretty sexy. I like that better than the old foil, obviously. But yeah, hit me up if you guys got that. Also, for the physicals, I ran 3 Red Right Punch. Endurance 1, physical attack, AT stages, sure. Not really there for too much damage, but you get to search your life deck for X drills, put them in, place them in play. X is your current anger level. This is ridiculous. Being able to search your deck for up to 5 drills, if you're going against a blue protective, average maybe 2 to 3 drills. Even being able to search out for 2 drills with 1 card is extremely powerful. You have like Lunges, who could only search the top 5 cards of your deck. This card could search your whole life deck for X drills according to your anger. So this card is extremely powerful in terms of utilizing the media effect, being able to search it early and whatnot. I used to run red right punch, but it was just the hit effect was just not enough, and you know you were only looking for a style drill, so it didn't really help if I was going to look for lookout drill. But red right punch is just so powerful in terms of the impact that it could do in the game. And then I also ran 2 red heel kicks for more abuse. Pretty much that's a classic, you know, red deck kind of card right here. And then I ran 2 wall breakers and then 2 devastating blow. Wall breakers is against Namekian because freaking Namekian got a huge boost in terms of anger gain. The new Piccolo is just ridiculous with the old Mastery, and obviously we've seen it from Texas, and you know, just seeing the results already show, you know, Namekian Piccolo is here to stay, at least that version, and it's going to be a problem if you don't have answers to anger. You can just level up so quickly from 1 to 2, depending what kind of build they have. You know, if they want to sit at level 2 or whatnot, you know, they just physically beat you down as well. So Wall Breaker is great. I run 2 of. And then also Devastating Blow is there for that anger manipulation, but also banishing. I didn't run 3 Dev Blow because I run another block, which I'll show you, that takes care of the discard pile too. But also my Red Ruthless Mastery that has hit lower your opponent's anger 1. So I do have some anger manipulation in here, so I think this is a good call on my part at least. But again, it's totally up to you. But I think those 2 cards are necessary, and it's kind of meta. Some combination of both. Physical blocks, I ran 3 Red Catch. This is the card that I was talking about that searches your opponent's discard pile. 2 Endurance, stops a physical attack, banish X cards from your opponent's discard pile. X equals your anger level. So this could be really powerful too as well, depending how much anger you have. Even being able to banish maybe like 1 or 2 cards is still decent, because usually people tech in maybe 3 Devastating Blows, but that's about it. Or 2 Devastating Blows and 2 Pulverize. You're going to need a lot of ways to really prevent your opponent from using those key cards in your discard pile. So I wanted to increase that amount, but at the same time having a block. So I didn't want to run 3 Devastating Blow because it's non-styled. I wanted to still have some style cards, so if I want to use it on the block, if I want to use it for the power to discard, use an attack, has endurance, I think it's a great card to have. And again, just use it at the right time. And then the other ones, 3 red cross block. These are from the new set. I'm experimenting with this because it's really one of the most consistent ways of utilizing your mastery. You stop a physical attack, search your discard pile for a style attack card, place it on top of your life deck or discard pile. So obviously your opponent attacks you with a physical attack, you block it, search your deck, put it on top, and then use your mastery for that. I mean, granted, you're going to be losing pretty much a card in your hand, but for the mastery, but it sets you up in a way, and it could be useful depending on what you choose, what you pick up. But it's just there for also defensive purposes. You could set up your draws next turn. Energy attacks. I ran 3 red left bolt. Cost 3 stages, pretty hefty. Does 5 life cards though, so instant crit with Turles. And then damage from this attack is banished. Another solid card against Namekian. Cards that you want cards to be banished, and red left bolt is one of the most powerful cards Red has, especially with Turles being no endurance. I'm repeating myself, but who cares? Damage from this attack is banished. Draw the bottom card of your life deck, and then also again card advantage, card replacement, I should say. Another staple, 3 red energy blast. This is Red's blue betrayal, basically. Light version, I guess. Cost 2 stages, 4 life cards, raise your anger 1, and then you get a banish a drill or an ally. Really save these for like Ginyu decks or Goku decks that like to utilize Vegeta, especially Hero Vegeta. That's extremely annoying, bouncing back and forth. Kami's really annoying. Nappa, all that stuff. It's very useful. You could do so many things with this, but mostly use it for allies. And then I also ran 3 red freezing beam. I like freezing beam because it's a way around Android 18. It's an energy attack costing 2 stages, and it does physical damage. So you could pretty much do some damage to Red 18 without having your physical attacks to be like, or your stage attacks to be modified and stuff. So it's good for that feature, and then also, you know, raising my anger, and I can switch my discard pile to Banish Stone for a drill and put it in play. Again, your opponent will be focusing on kind of board control, getting rid of your drills, so you need ways to put it back from your discard pile. And then I ran 2 Red Stomach Dive. This card is really good because it's AT plus 4 stages, which is powerful. You could attach it to your MP. And then when you're attached, when you perform an attack, you may lower your anger 1 level. If you do, that attack deals plus 2 life cards of damage. So it really adds on to the beatdown, as sort of say. Those 2 life cards, again, you can't use Endurance. With Turles, it's just so powerful. And destroy this card when you take critical damage, which is not going to be too often. It can happen, but I mean, you know, who cares? You know, there's something attached, something you can control your anger with. Sit at level 1 so you don't level up. It's a good card. I run about 28 endurance in this deck, so it's decent. But I have a lot of ways to kind of stage lock my opponents so they don't do a lot of life card damage. And then for the energy blocks, I ran 2 red hops and then 2 red energy shield. Red hops good, 2 endurance, stops an energy attack. Your next attack this combat gains hit, use a critical damage effect. So it works well with the new Red Mastery, the Red Examination Drill, I should say. You use critical damage effect, destroy a drill. Has 2 endurance as well, and then it's just a solid card. You know, being able to use a critical damage effect is good regardless. And then 2 red energy shields. You know, you notice I don't run HPD. This is because I want to keep my stages up so I can do energy attacks, because I do run a lot of energy attacks in here, mainly because it's Turles. So you know, it's a good idea to have Turles still do energy attacks, so you can do instant crits and whatnot. So you want to keep your energy up. And also against other physical heavy decks, you know, you do have 6 physical blocks, you have 3 Omni blocks, and then I also run Red Forward Stance Drill, which could also block physical. So I mean, you have several ways to block in this deck. But again, your main focus is beating your opponent down. But being able to have your stages back up again is great. That's why I run 2 of them, just in case. If I run with a bunch of energies, so I could just use them up again. But yeah, that was basically my basic I'm a basic bitch deck that I'm running. Still has a lot of testing to do. I've only done around well, previous to this build I was only like 4-1 with this deck, so it's very, very small sample size, which I hate to you know, go off of, but just considering all the changes that I had from, you know, the 4-1 matches, I think, you know, this catering to the meta in a way, in terms of more so Namekian Piccolo, crit effects, and beatdowns, a lot of energy decks. So take it with a grain of salt, build it. This is something that I want to help players to kind of get involved in and kind of just throw ideas around and kind of help each other with the community. That's how I think you build a community, is to kind of share your ideas and your thoughts and chime in, so we could all be, you know, aim for that perfect player credential, I guess. I don't even know what I'm saying. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Rate, comment, subscribe. I will do the same. Appreciate all the support out there, and stay tuned for more content. And let me know what you think. Leave a comment down below what you think you like in this deck, what you think should be better, what you didn't like, and we'll go from there. Thanks, guys, and see you later. Peace out. Look at Roshi.